Hello traders, today is August 28th, 2024. I'm gonna go over Affirm's earnings, and the only reason why I'm doing this is because their earnings were quite surprising. Keep in mind, this is not financial advice. This content is for educational purposes only, and if you find any utility on these videos, please leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. So let's get into this. Affirm is currently up almost 17%. If we go down to the 4-hour chart, you can see where the price is, which is at almost $37. That is pretty impressive. It was a very nice move. Let's go to the weekly chart, and right now you are right on this level where this little hand is, and there's where the our green candle for earnings is. So a very impressive, very sharp move, which I'm not a big fan of, because normally I would expect continuation to the downside. But I think that 40 is in the horizon, and we might continue moving into a higher levels. There is a lot of, I think, catalysts that could actually help Affirm continue moving towards, I guess, higher numbers. So I'm just going to go high level on what I know about earnings, and then, I guess, finish the video. Anyways, let's do earnings. Were reported at a net loss. They actually reported a net loss narrower than expected for the quarter ending in June 30th, with a loss of 45.1 million, or basically 14 cents per share, against expectations of a much larger loss. The revenue significantly beat estimates, coming at $659 million against unexpected $605 million. So, in other words, revenue was up, and also losses were down, which is a good indication. I guess it's a good indication, especially on the revenue side. The stock price reaction, obviously, we all saw it after earnings, had a very substantial increase, and after hours we went up, as I was mentioning, or we are up 17.16 right now. And I think a lot of that has to, or is reflecting, investor enthusiasm, at least for now, over the earnings beat. And, in general, news were pretty decent for Affirm, and the market is probably going to be, I guess, on the side of companies that are on the BNPL sector, especially if interest rates go down. The market sentiment in general for Affirm post-earnings is quite positive. Investors and analysts are following on earnings beat, or focusing, on earnings beat, and the company path towards GAAP profitability, GAAP profitability, and the potential for future growth in a more favorable interest rate environment, which that is obviously, as for this type of companies and for this sector, is basically absolutely important. And well, that's what I guess I have for the sentiment, at least out of what I can think about. As far as analyst ratings, lately there has been an upgrade from B to A securities to buy, indicating confidence on Affirm's future performance. Goldman Sachs also initiated a coverage with a buy rating, highlighting Affirm as a leader in the BNPL sector. Buy now, pay later sector. That's what BNPL stands for. As far as social media, what I can see, and this is, you can consider this anecdotal evidence, maybe, that the X posts reflect a lot of bullish sentiment, with a lot of users highlighting earnings speed, potential breakdown or breakout from a downtrend, which we are seeing on this chart right here. We were completely going down, and now we're seeing a recovery. We're all the way up here, as I was saying. So people get very enthusiastic for that. I personally don't like to see that kind of moves, because then you see catastrophe coming pretty quickly. Let's take a look at GABA, for example. And then, I actually don't dislike this, but you see these kind of situations here. Anyways, let's go back to Affirm. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a pullback within the next a couple of weeks or a week. At least that's what my own thought. And again, I guess that is the caution that I would express about the stock, and it's also what I think there is. I guess a little bit of worry about how overpriced the stock could be based upon current earnings and the stock valuation. I think it might be a little bit too high, but you never know in this type of market right now. But that would be my only concern right now, the stock valuation in relation to the revenue of the company. Anyways, as far as what the CEO statement was about aiming for GAAP profitability, has actually have a long-term boost, I guess, for Affirm's confidence, with many of the companies seeing as of the community. I'm sorry, not the company, seeing this as a turning point for Affirm, especially with expectations of easing rate environment, which could benefit the BNPL, I guess, sector. So I think in general, I welcome the news for Affirm. I'm not a big fan of this sector. I think it's predatory, but it exists and it's there to stay, I think. And I do believe that, again, my only caution for anybody trying to trade this is, in my opinion, now this is going to look pretty extended and it's going to have to breathe a little bit. Also, before I forget, there were some partnerships and expansion from Affirm that has announced several partnerships with that have indicated growth in this merchant network and service offerings, which could drive future revenue growth. And then the consumer sentiment and data breach, that is another thing that I wanted to mention that could be a little bit dangerous for a company like Affirm, especially because they handle a lot of personal data. And there was a mention of a data breach affecting Affirm card users, which might introduce some, as I'm saying, caution into the sentiment that we're currently having for the stock. Yet this hasn't, at least for now, put a dent on the move. Again, we're up 17%, pretty impressive. Anyways, my general take on this, other than the facts that we are getting from earnings, is that this already, let's go to the 4-hour chart, looks pretty extended. On the day chart, is going to look pretty nasty tomorrow. And what I think is that it might, I don't know, it might continue going up towards 40. My level right here is 39, 34 or 39.30, let's say. And so I wouldn't be surprised and we get a retest. Let's go to the 1 minute. I want to see this level, how old it is. Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually get rejection from here and go down towards at least 35. And then it would be nice to see this climbing. But, I do believe that Affirm is going to greatly benefit from lower, for obvious reasons, from lower interest rates. And that is actually going to push this sector towards, towards higher numbers or higher levels. So I'm not trading Affirm right now. I was trading Affirm, I believe, right on this move right here, and then I left it alone. Anyways, but I do think that there is there is definitely a possibility to go over 40 and continue going that way. But the best thing that could happen, in my opinion, is to have by the end of the week a little bit of a cool down, go back at least to 35, because now you're going to have a massive gap in this area. Go back to 35 and then claim 40 and continue going up. There's low liquidity in this area. I think this could actually start moving pretty fast. It has done it before. And then you have this level right here at 50, but let's focus on 40 for now and see what happens afterwards. Interesting, pretty impressive earnings report from Affirm. I do believe that, again, there is more enthusiasm than caution, I guess, as a sentiment. But just keep in mind the fact that, there could be bad news, just like what I mentioned about data breaches. And also, there could be a little bit of, in the near future, talk about the level of profitability of the company versus the valuation of the company. That's something that you have to keep in mind. And other than that, pretty impressive move. If you actually got into this and you're riding this wave, I'm absolutely happy for you. Other than that, that's all I have. Right, traders. Bye-bye.